The bitter Wyoming wind cut across the valley as Ethan Rollins stood on his ranch porch, staring at the fiery sunset behind jagged mountains. At 32, he was the richest man for miles, with 5,000 acres and countless cattle, but wealth could not fill the emptiness left by the fever that had claimed his wife Sarah and their son James 3 years ago. His grand house was full of fine things, yet silence haunted every room. Clara Bennett, the new maid from Ohio, timidly called him in for supper one evening. She was barely 20, with wheat-colored hair and shy gray eyes, carrying herself like she feared taking up space. Though he replied tersely, Ethan found himself noticing her quietness mirrored his own solitude. That night, while working in his study, he heard her softly talking to herself as she washed dishes. She cared for the house meticulously, speaking gently to herself, revealing her own hardships and resilience. Ethan realized she saw him not as a wealthy rancher but as a man haunted by loss, and something stirred in him. Night after night, Ethan pretended to sleep while Clara tended the study, adding firewood, straightening blankets, speaking softly to the portrait of Sarah and James. On the third night, she left him a small tin of salve for his hands, a gesture of simple kindness that humbled him. Her quiet devotion pierced the armor around his heart. When a sudden fever struck Clara, Ethan could no longer stand by. He insisted she stay in bed, sending for a doctor and personally seeing to her care. During her recovery, he apologized for having overheard her, confessing how her gentle heart had reminded him of compassion beyond wealth or control. By the time she was well, he had elevated her to head maid, offering her better wages and lighter duties, acknowledging her courage and integrity. As spring returned to the valley, so did life to Ethan's heart. He found himself seeking Clara's presence, cherishing small moments together. One afternoon, he watched her mending a shirt in sunlight, and the simple sound of her name from her lips was sweeter than any riches he had ever known. The local barn dance tested their courage. Clara hesitated in the crowd, wary of gossip about a wealthy rancher and his maid. Yet Ethan led her into the dance, holding her hand with care, their laughter and joy defying whispers and judgment. Some townsfolk judged, but they pressed on, bound by trust and love rather than appearances. When Clara considered fleeing to avoid scandal, Ethan found her and insisted that their hearts mattered more than gossip. "Your heart is stronger than anyone I've ever known," he told her, and she finally surrendered, agreeing to stay not as a maid, but as his partner. Their wedding was small and intimate, beneath the cottonwoods where Sarah and James rested. Ethan spoke their names softly, asking their blessing. Clara, once shy and burdened by fear, now stood proudly beside him, not as a servant but as his equal in love. Together, they faced the wide-open west, two broken souls healed, ready to embrace life anew. That night, in the quiet of the ranch house, Ethan whispered, "Tomorrow is a new day." Clara rested her head on his chest, smiling. "Yes," she said softly. "And this time we'll face it together."